A very good morning to you. Welcome to the Morning Outlook Report. I'm Rachel Jones reporting live from Kalkine TV Sydney studios. Now, the Australian share market is set to open higher this morning after a mixed finish for Wall Street on Friday. At the end of the week, the ASX was predominantly running flat at 7,416. Over the week, it closed 54 points or 0.7% higher. Across the sectors, 5 out of 11 finished in the red. Energy fell the lowest, down 2.1%, followed by materials. They were down 1.2% as oil and iron ore prices fell in the week, which dragged the resources sector lower. Technology was down 0.1%. Meanwhile, consumer discretionary was the best performer, up 1.4%. Followed by consumer staples up 1%, healthcare up 0.7%. The best performing stock was Helios, closing 4% higher, and the worst performing stock was Lynas Rare Earths, closing 8.1%, and that was after it released its quarterly results. Over in the US, share markets were mixed on Friday. That was in response to disappointing earnings. Shares in Intel lost 11.7% and shares in Snap fell 26.6%. The Dow Jones Index rose by 74 points or 0.2% to record highs. The S&P 500 Index fell 0.1% from record highs, and the Nasdaq lost 125.5 points or 0.8%. Over the week, the Dow rose by 1.1%, the S&P 500 rose 1.6%, and the Nasdaq gained 1.3%. Let us now look at some local business news for today. Origin has agreed the sale of a 10% interest in Australian Pacific LNG for $2.12 billion. To global energy investor EIG will sell the 10%. Following completion of the sale, the Australian Pacific LNG joint venture shareholders will comprise ConocoPhillips, Origin, and Sinopec, and EIG with their 10%. Origin will retain its existing seats on the Australia Pacific LNG board, and EIG will have one board seat with voting rights, commensurate with its 10% shareholding. The divestment will not change Origin's role as an upstream operator responsible for the upstream exploration, development and production activities. Telstra will acquire Digicel Pacific in partnership with the Australian government. They announced they partnered with the Australian government to acquire Digicel in the South Pacific region for $1.6 billion. Plus up to an additional $250 million subject to business performance over the next 3 years. The Digicel business will be owned and operated by Telstra. Now, Telstra is contributing $270 million of equity to the $1.6 billion purchase price, and the Australian government, through Export Finance Australia, is providing the remaining $1.33 billion through a combination of non-recourse debt facilities and equity-like securities. Telstra will own 100% of the ordinary equity. And moving on, AusNet Services has agreed to grant due diligence access to the APA Group, and that's following entry into a confidentiality deed with APA. Pursuant to the same deed, APA's agreed to grant reverse due diligence across to AusNet. This follows AusNet's announcement on the 15th of October that it would engage with APA in relation to its indicative, non-binding and conditional proposal to acquire, by the way of scheme of arrangement, all of the issued shares in AusNet for a combination of $1.82 cash and 0.0878 APA stable securities per share. AusNet is continuing to provide Brookfield with due diligence access and continuing to engage with Brookfield on its indicative, non-binding and conditional proposal of $2.50 cash per AusNet share. Well, on that note, let us take a very short break here. Stay tuned to Kalkine TV.
Tune in to stay updated while on the move.
We will tell you where the crypto craze has reached,
Where the property market is headed next.
what the world is doing to become more environmentally friendly.
Apart from tracking the daily market charter.
Be on top of the latest news and announcements
with Kalkine TV.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Rachel Jones and you're watching the Morning Outlook Report live on Kalkine TV. Let's take another look over to the US. Now, US long-term treasuries rose on Friday. Yields were lower. In a speech, US Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell noted that the Fed still was of the view that high inflation was likely to abate. US 10-year yields fell by 6 points to near 1.64%, but US 2-year yields lifted by 1 point to near 0.46%. Over the week, US 10-year yields rose by 6 points and US 2-year yields also rose by 6 points. Over in Europe, European share markets closed firmer on Friday on news that Chinese property developer Evergrande made a bond payment to avert default. The Pan-European Stock 600 index rose by 0.5%. The German DAX index also rose by 0.5%, and the UK FTSE index edged 0.2% higher. In London trade, shares in Rio Tinto rose 0.5% and BHP rose 0.7%. Let's take a look at commodities now. Gold is up 0.56% to $1,792.79 an ounce. Global oil prices rose by around 1.5% on Friday, but ended off highs for the session. World leaders warn that COVID-19 cases may be active in the Northern Hemisphere in the winter. But global oil supplies still remain tight. The Brent crude price rose by 92 cents or 1.1% to $85.53 a barrel, and the US NYMEX crude price rose by $1.26 or 1.5% to $83.76 a barrel. Over the week, Brent rose for the 7th week, up 67 cents or 0.8%, and NYMEX rose for the 9th week, up $1.48 or 1.8%. Base metal prices were mixed on Friday. Lead, zinc and tin all rose 1.4%, while other metals fell by as much as 2.2%. Over the week, metals were also mixed, with aluminium down 9.4% and zinc down 9%, while lead rose 2.7% and tin rose 0.9%. Well, that's all from me for this morning. Have a great day trading. Stay tuned for more market updates and economic news live throughout the day. This is Rachel signing off for now.